So welcome back to another video where we take a trip down memory lane to my past life as a professional BMX rider. I say past life because 6 years ago is when I broke my neck, and that drastically changed my life. I'm not able to get my BMX bike and be the same person I used to be, doing all these crazy tricks and traveling the world, going to all these amazing skate parks and competitions. I actually look on the bright side of it. I was able to live my dream as a professional BMX rider. I had a very long, amazing career where I got to experience so many things. And in this video, we're going to be going back to April 2014 when I made my first trip to Australia. I actually went with my sponsor at the time, Fox BMX, and we went for the Breaking Boundaries tour. So we're going to be watching the video from start to finish. I'm going to be stopping, going over the crazy tricks, whether it be me or the riders that were also on the trip. So I'm going to jump down into this corner and let's get this video started. So this was my first trip to Australia, and I was super nervous about going on this really long plane ride. I remember being on the plane and they were actually de-icing the wings because it was miserable out in New Jersey. So when I got there, it was pretty beautiful out there and it was very refreshing. So as you can see, this is just like the intro to the video where they're showing the riders and showing some of the skate parks that we went to. We actually toured the east coast of Australia. We went from Melbourne to Sydney to Gold Coast, and it was a really, really cool experience. Australia was a place I always wanted to go to, and the fact that I got to do it with Fox and with all my teammates at the time, it was amazing. But as you can see here, it's a rider list. Ryan Gootler, Dave McComb, who was from Australia. We have Alex Heim, that was the first time I was riding with him. Chris Nickel, Pat Casey from California. We got Taylor Ramsdale. We have Brandon Lupos, who you might recognize, from current modern day BMX. And then you also have me, of course. But it was such a fun trip and an experience that I will keep with me for the rest of my life. Not only just the riding, but the amazing things that we got to experience in Australia. Like we were able to go on a boat ride in Sydney Harbor, and it was just so cool to see. So we actually went to a few different skate parks where we did autograph signings and we met up with fans. And the first skate park we went to was the Shed, and the first clip of the video is really important to me, and here it is. As you can see, doing a bar spin drop in, but if you watch closely, that's a straight double bar spin drop in. I kind of forgot that I was doing this, so when I watched this video, it blew my mind, the fact that I was comfortable enough with bar spins to throw straight double bar spins into the bowl. But this bowl right here was amazing. It was so smooth, and it was really cool with the hips, and it had really nice bowl corners, and there was a bit of variety for everyone. All the guys were killing it, especially Pat Casey. 540 bar spin over a spine, that's honestly ridiculous. And for being back in 2014, that was a heavy trick. So huge shout out to Pat Casey for still being such an innovator of doing fakey tricks. So next stop was the Moomba Festival in Melbourne. This was like a crazy kind of music festival. There were so many people there, but the skate park was so awesome. It had a nice little railing for me to foo-foo. That's my thing. Whenever I would go to a skate park, I would just try to find like a nice railing that I could foo-foo. But they ended up doing like a competition here as well. So some of the guys like were able to ride here before that, so they knew the skate park really well. And the truth is, I didn't ride the best in the contest. It just really wasn't my setup. But some of the guys rode amazing, and one of them being Brandon Lupos. He ended up doing a 540 flare on like a 4.5 foot, 5 foot tall quarter pipe, which is insane to think about. And it should be no surprise that he ended up walking away with the win of this competition. And Dave Dillaward was also on the podium, was an Australian rider, and Pat got second. So moving along, we made our way up the coast and we went to Sydney, Australia. And now Sydney was probably my favorite part of being in Australia. I thought that was just such a cool looking city, and I really liked the temperature at the time. It was really beautiful. And we ended up going to a skate park that I've heard about since I was a little kid, and we finally got to Bondi Skate Park. But this skate park is so unique because it's a concrete skate park that's on the beach. But what's so crazy about it is that's actually a topless beach, or whatever you want to call it, like a semi-nude beach. So it's very distracting for a lot of riders to get work done, but I had no problem. As you can see, I was riding this bowl really good. And this is a pretty big bowl. It's like a 13-foot deep bowl, so I was really nervous about doing some like big tricks on it. But look at this, Alex Heim doing a toothpick to tuck no hander out and just completely holding it. And this is my first time riding with Alex Heim, and seeing him ride in person just completely blew my mind. You're gonna see some tricks in this video that are it's just unbelievable about how good this kid was for back in 2014. And like perfect example right here, doing a 360 to foot jam tail up to hop tail up and going back in, and he was doing like first try. And this was just ridiculous. Look at how wide it is. It's like not even a foot wide on the top. He did a tail whip 2 foot jam whips. So he does the tail whip, over rotates it, land into a foot jam whip, and hops back in. And he was doing it almost consistently. It's pretty nuts. Pat Casey just shows up to any skate park and he just rides exactly like he does, like in his backyard, able to do some ridiculous lines. And this is a really cool trick that I haven't seen Brandon do in a really long time. It's a decade air, so it's like a 360 downside whip, but then you got to do it like over a hip in a way, so it's like nice and straight. And here's a really cool clip of Taylor. This is my first time riding with Taylor, meeting him, seeing him do Vader slide to foot jam tail whip, doing like foot jam whip, kicking it back in, spinning back in was amazing. Now, Chris Nickel was such a treat to ride with, just seeing all the different tricks that he was doing. Like bar spin to nose wheelie, that long, back in 2014, that was like so ahead of his time. And he had such a unique style. It was like he was such a strong rider, but he was technical and smooth at the same time. And really, really cool to see him ride in person. So the next stop, we were going over to Five Dock Skate Park. If you guys watch my videos consistently, you'll remember that we actually did Vans competitions here. So I've been here, I think, twice for the Vans competition, but this is my first time ever riding here. So this was actually really, really cool because there was nobody around. It was like a regular day during the week, so we were able to ride this place when it was pretty much just us, and we got so much riding done. So here's a couple clips from me. I remember like being really amped up on the spine. It was like a really big spine, really smooth. And I think this is like my best trick I'd say I did at the skate park. And it's really unique and something that I kind of forgot about as well. Straight double bar spin 360 and then late X up. So you can see my back wheel was like barely in the air when the X up was like coming around, but pretty happy to see that trick. Pat Casey, once again, just flowing around the skate park, being ridiculous at these fakie tricks, just so in control of his riding. And the fact that he could do like 360 whip to fakie and then do 360 no-hander out of it is just absolutely unreal. So once again, the Alex Heim show. Look at this, foot jam to downside tail whip, landing it perfect. Just watch how he jumps off of that front wheel, kicks the bike, moves his leg over the top, just perfectly executed. Like, unbelievable rider. And here's another one. This is a switch downside tail whip, and he actually goes into a tuck no-hander. So opposite tail whip, catching it and then taking the hands off on that hip. And that was a pretty big hip as well. So after Sydney, we made our way up to Gold Coast, like Brisbane area. We went to the GC compound, which was such like a legendary Australian skate park. So I was really excited to ride here. Once again, I found a nice big Fufanu, and the deck was really big on this one. It was one of the bigger ones that I'd seen in a really long time. So I was amped up to do it. So we're gonna rewind this trick too. You can see it's definitely not the most technical trick, but you've probably never seen it done before. One-handed tail up to late X up. Totally forgot that I ever did that trick, so that was a good reminder as well. And this is going to be the last clip of the video, the most ridiculous trick of the trip for sure. Pat Casey, just doing Pat Casey. Look at this, 540 tail whip over a full-size box jump. I just did a tail one-hander to X up over this, and Pat just did a 540 tail whip, landing perfectly fakie across it. Like, I just can't even explain how crazy that is, and still to this day, nobody's doing it. So what an amazing trip. I had so much fun hanging out with everybody and even meeting people for the first time there in Australia, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I had as a professional rider. So it's awesome to do another one of these videos where I get to go back in time and look at my riding. It's very therapeutic for me, and it kind of brings me back to living in those memories, and that's what's really awesome about it. Now, the next video I want to do is go back to my felt videos when I was doing the web edits in the early 2000s, where I was doing some pretty crazy edits, and there was all these crazy tricks that people had never seen before, and it was like a really big deal on the internet. A lot of people say that was like the first kind of like web edit craze of BMX, and like just knowing that I had such a big part of it was really, really cool. So that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed this video and look forward to the felt videos very soon. We'll see you next time. Peace.